Oak Park, and it continues through next weekend. One of the authors being featured today is here with us in the studio, Joshua Safran, who wrote Free Spirit, Growing Up on the Road and Off the Grid. Here's the book right here, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So this is a book of your life.
It is.
And it's interesting. It's starting, when you were 4 years old that your mom took you on the road and you had an interesting journey. Will you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. I was born into a commune in the Haight-Ashbury to a coven of witches. My mother was a part of a pagan witch collective that were taking religion back from men. And in 1980, my mother took me on the road. She was afraid of nuclear war and Ronald Reagan and didn't want me to go to public school. She believed that school was no place for kids. So I basically grew up hitchhiking across the American West.
And you met some interesting characters along the road. Perhaps which was the most interesting person do you think that stands out in your mind?
Well, we did for a time live in a sort of a commune setting with a man named Crazy John, who, as his name would
I know imply, Crazy John. No, I'm just kidding.
He was crazy, but he used to sleep in our car, and so in the mornings, sometimes when the car was running, we'd have to kick him out in order to drive somewhere, and we had lots of, strange, a lot of drugs and strange people in these different communes and intentional communities.
Certainly an interesting story, and this is part of the book signing that's going to be today. You're going to be speaking about your book, at 6 o'clock?
At 6 o'clock at the JCC.
And if people want to, hear more about that, they can certainly do that. But on top of that, you're going to be having a movie showing tomorrow, which you are an attorney, and it's amazing that you made it through all of that and made it then again through law school. But it's just, I saw the trailer. It is really a fascinating piece how you helped this woman really be able to get out of prison. She was supposed to spend her life in prison, wrongly charged. Give us a little idea of what this is about, this film.
Sure. So basically, when I was a kid, when I was 9, my mother married a violent alcoholic. And so I spent about 4 years surviving him and kind of overcoming him and getting out and ultimately becoming a lawyer. So I didn't have a time machine to go back in time to help myself. So the next best thing was I found a woman who kind of reminded me of my mother. She was taken when she was 15 years old and forced into prostitution, and for about 6 years before someone killed her batterer. The police thought that she was responsible for it, but she wasn't. She was innocent. And even if she had, I felt like under the circumstances there was some justification. So she'd been in prison for 20 years, and I spent 7 years getting her out of prison. Wow.
I saw you brought to tears in part of that trailer as well.
Yes.
I can imagine it was an emotional journey. For her, if it wasn't your involvement, she'd still be in prison right now.
That's right. Yeah, it was a powerful experience, and when you free someone from prison and see them, kind of come out the prison gates, it's the most overwhelming and powerful experience that I've ever had.
What made you find her? How did you find her? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people going through the same thing.
Yeah, there was an organization that was trying to provide justice for these women who had been locked up, that they had a story of domestic violence that never got told.
Right.
And so I basically just put my name on a list. I was randomly assigned this woman, and she was the first person that I ever talked to about my own experiences with domestic violence, and so it was a very powerful connection.
Right, so you have a book and you have a movie, and if people are interested, again, you'll be able to see more about the movie, Crime After Crime. That's tomorrow at 2 p.m. at the JCC in West Bloomfield, and we want to thank you so much for joining us and sharing your work. You'll find much more information on Joshua in the book fair on the weekends page of myfoxdetroit.com. Robin.
This old abandoned house is getting a whole new life. Soon it will be one of the most energy efficient homes in Southgate. I'll tell you about the pilot program that's making the renovation possible and who gets to live here in our Foxy